Get ready for the action, because Pennsylvania is making a massive move to shift the energy burden of data centers directly onto the electrical grid. The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission just voted 5-0 to advance a brand new model tariff designed to set clear guidance on how utilities will ensure that the public doesn't end up footing the bill for this booming data center infrastructure. This framework introduces crucial collateral requirements, upfront fees, and contractual cost obligations to manage the massive grid upgrades planned for the state, especially as analysts predict a 4,000% increase in data center demand over the next decade.
Never get caught with a dead phone again. This INIU portable charger is compact, travel-friendly, and gives you fast 45-watt charging with a built-in USB-C cable, so there's no need to carry extra cords. With 10,000 mAh power, it's perfect for busy days, trips, emergencies, or anytime your battery drops too low. Grab yours on Amazon through the link in the comments before your phone hits 1%.
The AI revolution is hitting a wall, and the pressure is mounting on the hardware powering it. Researchers like Lennart Heim are explaining the alarming AI compute crunch, where tools like Claude are hitting usage limits in minutes, hinting at a deeper squeeze on the chips and power needed for advanced AI. This isn't just a developer frustration. It signals a critical point where demand for AI is outpacing the ability of companies to build the necessary data centers and power them, with projections showing the U.S. AI sector needing 50 gigawatts of electric capacity by 2028. Meanwhile, the environmental and community impact of this build-out is sparking intense debate across Michigan. Dr. Sarah Mills, director of Graham's Center for Empowering Communities at the University of Michigan, is weighing the consequences of large-scale data centers and renewable energy projects on rural areas in Washtenaw County. She dives into the crucial differences between data centers and solar or wind farms, examining issues like noise, air pollution from backup generators, and the complex water usage profiles of these massive energy consumers. And finally, Pennsylvania is taking concrete steps to protect its residents from these escalating electricity costs. The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission has advanced guidance that aims to shield average ratepayers from data center demands, with the first precedent-setting rate case agreeing that data centers will pay $11 million for low-income rate relief. We break down what this means for the grid, the developers, and what lawmakers are doing to ensure these massive projects are built responsibly. Stay with us for the full story. Pennsylvania is implementing a significant regulatory shift designed to allocate the substantial energy costs of its burgeoning data center industry directly to the electrical grid. The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission recently voted 5-0 to approve a new model tariff framework specifically targeting large load customers, establishing new guidelines for how state utilities will manage the financial burden of data center infrastructure. This move is a direct response to concerns among regulators and utilities regarding the potential for grid upgrade costs, projected to reach billions of dollars, to be unfairly passed on to smaller customers should data center development slow down, or if power demands fall short of projections. The new framework introduces several mechanisms to mitigate these risks, including mandatory collateral requirements, upfront fees, and contractual cost obligations for these large consumers. Pennsylvania is rapidly emerging as a major hub for data center development within the PJM region, with analysts forecasting an explosive growth trajectory, predicting over 7,000 megawatts of demand increase in the sector over the next decade, a staggering 4,000% surge. A growing AI compute crunch is reportedly impacting access to advanced artificial intelligence tools, as demand is outpacing the available computational resources. Reports indicate that heavy users of large language models, such as Anthropic's Claude, are encountering severe usage limits, with sessions being cut short in minutes. This scarcity points to a deeper squeeze on the necessary chips, power, and data centers required to sustain cutting-edge AI development and deployment. The issue is not isolated to a single provider. Competitors like OpenAI are also facing constraints, evidenced by the decision to shutter its video generation platform Sora amid surging demand for its coding assistant, Codex. This situation has prompted industry discussions regarding a compute crunch, the scenario where the growth of AI demand is accelerating faster than the capacity of data centers and power infrastructure can be built. The stakes are significant. If AI becomes the standard interface for coding, science, medicine, and enterprise functions, access to compute translates directly into economic speed. Current projections are alarming. Anthropic estimated the U.S. AI sector will require 50 gigawatts of electric capacity by 2028 to maintain global leadership, while the International Energy Agency forecasts global data center electricity use to double by 2030. Compute demand scales dramatically with model size. While training frontier models requires immense power, the inference, the process of users asking questions, is also highly compute-intensive. If usage intensity increases significantly, the required compute scales exponentially. This dynamic explains why flat-rate subscription models, common in earlier internet services, are breaking down for AI. Since the cost to providers rises sharply with increased usage, rate limits are increasingly being implemented to manage consumption. Companies are employing various strategies to control usage. These include defaulting to smaller, less powerful models for cost efficiency, such as Anthropic's shift to Claude Sonnet, or imposing usage caps. However, the fundamental bottleneck lies in the physical supply chain. Bottlenecks include the manufacturing of advanced AI chips by firms like TSMC, which are facing massive capital expenditure demands. Furthermore, the need for specialized components like high-capacity memory and cleanroom fabrication facilities is creating severe logistical constraints that prevent companies from scaling capacity quickly enough. Experts suggest that the current focus is shifting from simply training larger models to balancing research and development compute against serving compute, the need to test new ideas versus the need to serve current users. While companies possess significant existing compute reserves, the high cost of building new data centers and chips, coupled with forecasting difficulties, means that market mechanisms, such as raising prices, may eventually become the primary solution to this growing resource constraint. A recent discussion on 89.1 WMU's First Friday focus on the environment centered on the complex impacts of large-scale data centers and renewable energy projects on rural communities in Washtenaw County and Michigan. Dr. Sarah Mills, director of Graham Center for Empowering Communities at the University of Michigan, joined co-host Lisa Wozniak, CEO and president of the Michigan League of Conservation Voters, to dissect these issues. Dr. Mills highlighted the critical distinction between data centers and traditional renewable energy projects like wind and solar farms. She noted that data centers often rely on natural gas or diesel generators, introducing air pollution alongside noise, unlike wind or solar facilities. Furthermore, data centers frequently utilize security fencing and lighting, elements less common in renewable energy installations. When addressing the impact on agricultural land, Dr. Mills acknowledged that hyperscale data centers can occupy significant acreage, though she suggested that at a broader level, the impact on food production may be limited. She emphasized that both data centers and renewable energy projects seek rural locations with ample land and grid access, leading to overlapping siting concerns. Regarding water usage, Dr. Mills explained that while some data centers use water for cooling, many employ air or closed-loop fluid systems. She pointed out that the largest water users in Michigan are currently thermoelectric power plants cooled by water, suggesting that cooling a data center with water might indirectly reduce the strain on these existing power sources. On the benefits of existing renewable projects, Dr. Mills reported that host communities often realize advantages through increased property taxes, which fund local services like road construction and even eliminate costs like trash collection. Communities are also exploring repowering older wind turbines. Addressing corporate accountability, Dr. Mills stressed the importance of local governments securing written guarantees from developers. Key advice includes demanding written commitments regarding backup generators and establishing comprehensive decommissioning plans to ensure sites are returned to a usable state after the project's life cycle ends. She also suggested local governments seek property tax guarantees, similar to models used in the solar industry, to ensure promised economic benefits materialize. Lisa Wozniak engaged on the potential for data centers to benefit host communities through energy efficiency. She raised the idea of developers offering energy efficiency upgrades to homeowners as a way to mitigate increased grid strain. Dr. Mills viewed this as a viable strategy, suggesting that distributed energy solutions, like rooftop solar and home efficiency, could offer a faster path to energy benefits than waiting for large transmission infrastructure. The conversation underscored a central theme: utilizing land use planning and policy to ensure that infrastructure development provides tangible, long-term benefits for rural communities rather than solely externalizing costs or environmental burdens. The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission has advanced guidance aimed at shielding residential ratepayers from the increased electricity costs associated with data centers, driven by the accelerating demand from artificial intelligence. The Commission's move comes as data centers are projected to cause explosive load growth on the electrical grid, leading to higher bills for consumers across Pennsylvania and neighboring states. PJM Interconnection, the regional grid manager, has identified the surge in data center activity as a key contributor to increased electricity demand and subsequent rate hikes. This trend is already impacting Pennsylvania, where residential bills rose by 10 to 20% during parts of last year, and utility shutoffs increased by 21%. The Commission's proposed model tariff offers recommendations, not binding regulations, designed to allow large energy users, such as data centers, to connect quickly while protecting ratepayers. PUC Chairman Stephen DeFrank emphasized the urgency, stating, "We are at a critical juncture for our electrical grid. Data centers and advanced manufacturing are causing explosive load growth that our system has not seen in generations." The proposed framework defines large load customers as those requiring over 50 megawatts individually or 100 megawatts in aggregate. Key recommendations include imposing fees on developers who abandon contracts before infrastructure investments are recovered, and requiring large load customers to contribute to universal service programs. Further amendments approved during the hearing seek to enhance protection. One amendment allows large load customers to pursue their own infrastructure upgrades where feasible to prevent cost pass-through to ratepayers. Another recommends that electric distribution companies recover all necessary transmission and distribution costs for interconnecting large load customers, except for pre-planned upgrades. Industry stakeholders have reacted with mixed responses. The Data Center Coalition commended the PUC for establishing a transparent framework that avoids protracted disputes. However, advocacy groups like the Pennsylvania Utility Law Project stress that because the tariff is not binding regulation, legislative action is necessary to ensure protection. Energy companies, such as PECO, support efforts to prevent data center expenses from shifting onto residential and small business customers. PUC Commissioner Catherine Zerfus noted that the model tariff is one step, encouraging the regulated community to consider it while cautioning against using it as a shield against innovation. The implementation of the revised final order is expected in the coming days, with the industry committed to ensuring the final rules are grounded in cost causation and proportional risk.